Family Matters doesn't get the respect, and because it's not a hood show. Unrivaled. Are you ready for this? January 17th.
I'm so excited. Oh my God.
Gift for you.
I know, right? Shout out to all my Capricorns out there. Our season is fast approaching.
Does the number $765 million for 15 years ring a bell?
Oof, yes, it does, unfortunately.
You saying that after y'all just went to the World Series and lost, that this is a Mets town is just absolutely insane.
Congratulations to Juan Soto for the most expensive downgrade I've ever witnessed. And we'll see what happens next season.
All right, so we're back from vacation. Not only did we talk wrestling, but we did break it through glass ceilings. And at that time, while we was out breaking through glass ceilings, said it wanted to evolve. It wanted to change channels. It wanted to have a baby. And here we go. And it's still time to talk trending topics, name to be determined at a later date. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the one and only Miss Queen PR. How you doing?
I'm so good. It's like that time of year where you recap the year, but then you're looking forward.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in that era right now.
Yeah, I know I did like the most arrogant thing, just assuming everybody knew who I am. Brian H. Waters here. And here we are. This is a Six Heart Media production. One of the many things we're going to do. But there's a lot of cool stuff that's been happening. But here's how this is going to go. We're going to talk about stuff that's trending, talk about things you guys want to talk about. We're going to give y'all production tips, but we're also going to let you in on our lives. And what I mean by that, things that we may be binge watching, things that we may be going through rabbit holes of, because I'm pretty sure we go through things and it's like, I want to talk to somebody about this. But before we do that, I always like to do check-ins. So, Miss Queen PR, how are you feeling? Like I know you said it's the reflection time, but mentally, how are you feeling right now?
Ready.
Ooh.
Ready for everything and anything that life has to offer.
Is you ready? Are
you ready?
Yeah, definitely. And see, and it's funny because most people would have thought I would have went with that version, but see, you put me onto the Migos a while ago, and then we just finished watching the Jamie Foxx special, which
oh my God,
later.
That was so
I was thinking about
good.
In Atlanta, and a lot of the Atlanta references, Atlanta rap. But I want to talk about the WNBA. In the last episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, you and I talked about the WNBA, and you explained why this is the best thing. This is a growing brand. And I want to bring up the fact that they are the fastest growing brand in 2024, which I think is definitely something to be proud of. Now, I'm going to name some brands that also grew. We have Ben & Jerry's at number 2. This is all according to Boardroom. Fastest growing brands in 2024. Brisk, that's a surprise. I thought everybody, kind of iced tea, whatever. Experian, I guess more people trying to check their credit. Copilot, one will benefit from for sure. YouTube Shorts makes sense. Yes. We've been seeing a lot of those. Disney Plus, that's another one. Mm-hmm. Seems like a resurgence. I guess they've been doing some mergers too. Smart Water, Pizza Hut, and Coach. Let me ask you, did you growing up?
I did. I think every Black girl in, I don't know other parts, but in New York, at one point, it definitely was a thing to have a Coach bag. and it was generational because then your mom had a Coach bag, my older sister had Coach bags, and the quality at one point was amazing. But can I just say one interesting thing about Coach is, I don't know if you remember, but Cardi B came out with a song, and she says something about something she doesn't want. And it's a Coach bag. And it kind of sounds like a dig. But Cardi B put something out. I think Coach social media team put something out and was like, because your brand can get severely impacted if an influential celebrity like Cardi B says something in a song about how they may or may not like that brand. Like that can really do huge things. Quick examples with Snapchat, Rihanna and Kylie Jenner. They posted something that Rihanna didn't like, and she said something about it, and the Snapchat stock plummeted. So it's a huge thing. So Coach posted something about it. And Cardi B posted a video of her visiting the Coach store, which I'm pretty sure was arranged by the Coach team. And I would like to think that that is what helped Coach get on that list, because that wasn't a brand that I was really checking for recently. But now I am. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I want to talk about when we talk about the WNBA, the league, over $136 million in value from sponsors.
Wow.
And then obviously Game 5, the New York Liberty won the championship, but it averaged 215 million viewers.
Wow. That is unbelievable. And that feels so good to hear. I'm not gonna lie.
I would say, when you think about the growth of the league, right? A lot of people want to talk about Catilin Clark, who was named the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. I don't know. Did you see the quote from Sheila Johnson, the owner of the Washington Wizards? The owner of the Washington Mystics.
Mm-mm.
All right. She basically said, it shouldn't be just one player. Time Magazine should have awarded the entire WNBA.
That actually would have been really, really deep.
Yeah.
I kind of love that, actually, because it would have said something about how important women in the WNBA are.
Mm-hmm. And the thing I think about this is that when you look at the finals, right? Catilin Clark, I think, had one or two playoff games. I can't remember if the first round was single elimination or not.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to her. Not going to be ignorant to the fact that, yes, she had her fan base that she brought to the league. But the fact of the matter is the league was also thriving in other areas. We saw people come to the games. We saw everybody. You got to credit Angel Reese. You got to credit the face of the league, Asia Wilson. And then obviously Stewie and Sabrina and JJ doing their thing. And it was, at the end of the day, it was New York and Minnesota in the finals. And that's the reason that they had 215 million viewers plus, because it was those two teams in the finals. So it's obviously no disrespect to Catilin Clark. I do respect what she said about, pretty much don't use her as a face for white supremacy and everything. I respect, because she could have went quiet, but she didn't. She recognized black
and she
women
also spoke
built
up
the league
at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't responding to every headline or every ignorant fan comment about her, or putting her in this position to stand for something that she didn't stand for. She waited until she was being interviewed by Time for being named Athlete of the Year to speak up, which was the perfect time to speak up about it. And she did so very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the interview following that was also very good. And it really was scary to see how many people wanted her to, the racist spectators, because I am not going to call them fans, the racist spectators that wanted her to lean into how she's being targeted by all the Black players in the league and how she should be the face, and none of them out, no one else really matters besides her, and she refused to play into that. And just seeing how disappointed that sector of people was really, really disappointing and sad. And I'm glad that she said what she said.
Yeah, shout out to her, because she could have been quiet. That was a big thing about a lot of male athletes. Your Tom Brady's, your Peyton Manning's. At the time, people were saying that they were quiet, but Catilin Clark certainly wasn't. Unrivaled. Are you ready for this? January 17th.
I'm so excited. Oh my
nice
God.
Birthday gift for you.
I know, right? Shout out to all my Capricorns out there. Our season is fast approaching.
So would Unrivaled be a Capricorn?
Yes.
I thought so. I wasn't sure.
Absolutely.
They've been moving.
I mean, Raw is a Capricorn. Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I'm just saying. Actually, I think it might have even premiered on my birthday.
It did. January 11th, 1993.
I love that.
Live from the Manhattan Center in New York City.
I love that for all of us wrestling fans.
Yeah, and they're gonna be down in Florida, I believe. How cool is it that the founders are the two ladies who was going head to head in the WNBA championship?
I have to admit, I thought about that the entire finals. I was just like, oh my God, like this is going to be, especially because it was so contentious at the end.
Yeah.
Sorry, Minnesota. But they were very, a little butthurt. So I was really like, how are these business meetings going to be? But, Stewie and Nafisa have history. They're competitive. They're, really good athletes. So they understand what it's about. So it's probably even sweeter, and honestly probably did more publicity for Unrivaled than anything else, because these were the two faces. It's like they were the two faces. They're the two faces of their team that were in the finals, and then a couple, not too long after that, they're doing press for Unrivaled, and it just so happened to be two women that were already getting media attention because they were in the finals together. So it kind of was like that perfect storm, almost, just for marketing for the league. But the league honestly didn't need help with the marketing. Me and my sister, who is big in branding as well, from day one when it was announced, the marketing for Unrivaled has been really captivating and interesting and unique, and did a lot of informing of what the business of the WNBA and how it's different from Unrivaled, and just the benefit that it has for professional basketball players, like for the women, because they don't have those really dope off-season opportunities in the States. So this is good. And I know there was some history made today.
Yeah.
That I'd love to talk about.
Talk to me.
So the salary, I am going to try not to get triggered, but the WNBA salary is so sad. I'm not even going to talk about it. But the average salary in Unrivaled is actually going to be more than the maximum WNBA salary. And that's going to be $222,000 and $222,222. And that is more than the WNBA strategy. Mind you, this is a 2-month season. And they're making this kind of money. So that is absolutely huge.
Yeah. And you one thing that's really cool when you look at like some of the sponsors that they have, you got Under Armour, State Farm, which we all know with them. We always see, get ready to see some of the ladies in the commercials. I had State Farm insurance, I think, once in my life. They're a little high, but hey, at least they putting the money to good use.
Right.
Alley Financial, which is a banking company. Actually, I got approved and had one of my vehicles through them years ago. And then, well,
you're so funny.
If I tell you what kind, you're gonna clown me. But since I brought it, it was a minivan.
Yep.
You know, it's cool. I will say minivans are fun when you're going on road trips with your friends. Even if it's like down the street, like it was like me, the real Dwayne Allen, brother Hugh, a couple other folks. We went to DC, but that's when minivans are fun. But yeah, TNT Sports exclusive media rights partner, and
that's amazing as well.
Yeah, Media Pro North America. So that's the part that I'm really excited about, is them getting the sponsorship, is so that they can pay these ladies. You know, we know it comes down to media rights. That's the reason why the the NBA salaries are out of this world. That's the reason why NFL salaries and MLB salaries, you know. So that's what's going to be fun. I'm always interested in that stuff, especially when you look at like breaking down the media stuff. So, yeah, shout out to them. Any other words on that?
Huge. Just that if you are not covering women's sports or investing in it right now, you are missing out. Like, this is the time. It is growing so much between soccer, basketball. I saw, the highest paid female athlete. One of them this year was a female soccer player, Coco Gauff. So this is the time to invest in it. And I cannot wait to see how much more women's sports grows next year.
Yeah. Invest in women, that's one thing I'll say. Real quick, as we talk about investing, I want to talk about this real quick and jump around and run down. Does the number $765 million for 15 years ring a bell?
Oof, yes, it does, unfortunately.
Queen PR, that is what cost your New York Yankees Juan Soto. Now, what's so interesting about that, right? It's not the money. It's not the fact that he chose the Mets over the Yankees. Did you hear one of the perks?
What? The suite?
Yes.
It's in Citi Field, so ew.
Oh. What I thought about that, when they said simply, no, Aaron Judge doesn't have a suite. You can make the negotiations. But when they said, look, Derek Jeter didn't have a suite, you can't touch that. The man brought 5 championships there. Whether or not he was the best player or whatever, that's debatable. But at the end of the day, he's a staple in the franchise. I know there are people when like Jeter retired, they say, oh, he's not on the New York Yankee Hall of Fame or whatever, for whatever that is. You know what I mean? But I mean, the Mount Rushmore. But the one thing that got to me, and the reason why I had to put this on here, was he said he believed they could build their own dynasty. All right, whatever. The fact that he said NYC is a Mets town now.
It's a joke. I'm glad you started laughing, because that's a fucking joke.
Now, look,
I grew up in the fucking Bronx. Okay? That sounds like a fucking fairy tale. Mets, he's officially a Met. Fucking living in Delululand. Like, I get it. Like, make history with this salary, make your money, get your suite. Also, that's kind of crazy. Like, I would assume that all like top players had a suite, but I mean, I guess that could get kind of ridiculous after a while. You know what I mean? Because if they leave the team, what happens to this? It's a lot. But ain't New York ain't no fucking Mets town. Like, let's be fucking real. Like, I had, I knew once they had got a new owner, and I'm only speaking like this because my dad is a huge baseball fan. Brian H. Waters too, obviously. And I've picked up on kind of the business of things. I'm not like a fucking expert. But I did learn that once the Mets had got a new owner that actually had money, or was willing to spend money, that eventually plays like this would be made. And a lot of Mets fans were excited for this. So, get excited, but chill. Chill.
Here's the thing about Juan Soto. And what's so interesting, if you look at the baseball of it all, he's not the greatest fielder. And I was wondering, like, what wanted him to deserve that type of money? I mean, yeah, he can hit. He's a game changer, but whatever. He is the epitome of betting on yourself, though. In 2022,
I love that.
Yeah, the Washington Nationals offered him a 15-year deal for $440 million, and he turned it down. But I could see him saying it's a Mets town if he never played for the Yankees. But the fact that you left, like it's still delusional. But you getting your team hyped up and said, "Look, we about to make this a Mets town." You saying that after y'all just went to the World Series and lost, that this is a Mets town is just absolutely insane.
It's also, what else is he gonna say? Like, they just paid you, and they're paying you a ridiculous historic salary. Of course, you're gonna say that. Get these little Delulu Mets. I will never forget the, being here in New York, the optimism in the city when the Mets were doing well. Like, all the Met fans wearing their hats and their shirts and their jerseys and shit, co-workers and stuff. Like, they had a nice little pep in their step. As soon as, mind you, they lost the same weekend that the Liberty won their championship. So I'm elated because my New York team just brought home a chip. And I just see the Mets fans, and they just all look so disappointed. But you know what's so funny about that, Brian, is like, this is not the first time that I've seen that look on Mets fans' faces. So congratulations to Juan Soto for the most expensive downgrade I've ever witnessed. And we'll see what happens next season.
Oh, wow. We'll see what happens. I mean, I got beef with the Mets because before I was born, they beat one of the greatest Orioles teams in '69 in the World Series. And then they couldn't avenge my Orioles in 2015 when they lost the World Series to the Kansas City Royals. And you know how I feel about Kansas City. But speaking of the Lululand, Jaleel White. He said that.
You knew I wanted to talk about him because I've been obsessed recently.
He said that Family Matters doesn't get the respect, and because it's not a hood show. Now, can we one thing say this, right? Because I think you and I just finished, you just finished his book. I'm in the middle of it. I think I would like to think maybe what he was trying to say is a hood classic. It's a difference between a hood show and a hood classic, right? Because, and I would say my interpretation, a hood classic is stuff that everybody talks about in the hood, the Living Singles, the Martins, the Fresh Princes, the Bill Cosbys, and so forth. But then there's hood shows, or you could say hood movies like Friday. I can't think of no hood shows, so I'm gonna say Friday, Don't Be a Menace, Boys in the Hood. Am I tripping? Am I getting this right? What do you think?
No. So you're saying hood movies and hood classics from the audience perspective?
Yes.
Or are you saying like the type of show? Like, is it a hood show? As in, is that the genre of it?
So
I
guess what I'm saying is, I would like to believe that he's not that delusional to say that the shows he names were hood shows, and instead what he was trying to say, they are hood classics. But again,
in the hood community, these are the shows that niggas like.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think, yes. Okay. So yeah, we're on the same page now. But you know what's so sad about his whole perspective is it brings up what he considers Black, because there are other types of shows and audiences that are not hood that enjoy all these different types of shows. I think what really it comes down to, and the reason why he gets upset when Black people don't talk about Family Matters in like their top 5 or top 10. Just because it had a predominantly Black cast.
Yeah.
And it was awesome to see another Black family on TV. And Steve Urkel is an iconic character, pop culture character that will never, die down. Like it's something like, I don't know if it was you telling me where like you heard like maybe your son or something call someone Urkel or something. But I know I heard like a younger generation. Yeah, like, that's how the crossover is. And I think there's that difference of Family Matters being a popular show because of an iconic character or Family Matters being a popular show. We have to be real. Family Matters is not a good show. It's just not. Like the quality of the storytelling, the character development, the, continuity. Like there's nothing about that show that has, to me, good rewatch value, unless you're just in like a nostalgic mode and you're just like, oh, I want to watch something that reminds me of the 90s, or I want to watch something from, my childhood or something. I don't think it has really good replay value at all. And it really all has to do with how we are entertained by Steve Urkel. And after, to me, the 5th, 6th seasons, his character just gets so outlandish, and it just monopolized all the storylines, and it just got so crazy to me that it was it's not a good rewatch. And now with streaming services and Black people revisiting shows and binging shows, and I just started appreciating Martin in my adult years because I didn't watch it as a kid, and I was able to stream it recently, and I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best one of the best sitcoms, but one of the best Black shows of all time.
Yeah.
I'm not rewatching Family Matters and saying that. I'm not rediscovering it and being like, oh my God, that show was so good. Now, will I watch some Urkel clips on YouTube and be like, oh my God, he was so funny, I remember him when I was a kid? Yes. But that show is not good. Characters literally disappeared with no explanation. Like it just got ridiculous. And I think that's the part that Jaleel White, I think, doesn't want to admit, is that it's just not a good show. You were just really good in it, is really what it comes down to. And that could be whether it had a white cast, Black cast, and it's also not a Black show. Let's be real. It had white writers. The scenarios were typical sitcom scenarios. You could have put any race family in those scenarios, those ridiculous scenarios after a while too, and it would have worked. And Steve Urkel had great crossover appeal. And these things aren't necessarily negatives at the time, because you want to cross over that way. White writers, even Jaleel White said this in an interview, because I've been going down a rabbit hole, that said that Steve Urkel's character was a dream because white writers can literally write for this Black character easily.
Yep.
Easily. So that's what I think is the mix up when it comes to like why Black people don't count Family Matters. I really just think because it's not a Black show. It doesn't portray Black experiences, the unique, layered, nuanced Black experiences, a show, unlike a show like Insecure, for example. So no, I'm not going to think of it as a Black show, and it's not going to be in my top 5 because it's just not a good show.
Wow.
And that's my... because I've been thinking a lot about it. His book is an interesting read too, if you're interested. But it's just that's my take on the whole Family Matters debut debate.
Nah, I mean, you're right. I Googled like Black shows in the 80s versus Black shows in the 90s. That actually falls under the 80s category. But when you look at it, Cosby is the pinnacle. And I always, even as a child, thought like Family Matters, because my TV memory watching years are more so the early 90s. I'm pretty sure it was like on, I was watching it in the late 80s and born in 86. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cosby Show's the pinnacle as far as like as a child watching a family show. Family Matters was like the alternative. But we rushed to watch Family Matters. Both of them was appointment viewing television. But, we obviously, you and I, we go more with the 90s, which, you had, coming into the early 90s, like the Hanging with Mr. Coopers, then you transition into the Martins, the Fresh Princes, obviously then the late 90s, the Jamie Foxx, that's the ones like the Jamie, well, Sister also, excuse me, but the Jamie Foxx, Sister, Parenthood, Steve Harvey, and the Wayans brothers, and even In the House, that took us to the 2000s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. So it's so easily to lose in the shuffle. And unfortunately, like for him, you're right. It's one of those things that like I didn't really think about till you said it. I was like, wait a minute, that wasn't that good, because like for you and I, it goes to nostalgia versus history. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like you're going to look at it from a historical standpoint. It's because people talked about this show. And you're like, okay, is this good or is it not? I'm looking like I'm going to have some nostalgia freak moments. Shout out to Cal. Like, oh, I remember when I first watched the show. Like I remember when the first time we seen Stefan. And like my father was like, oh, look at him. And my mother was like, oh, and we like, and me and my sister was like, wait, that's Urkel. But he don't have glasses on. So you remember moments, but at the end of the day, it's easy that now later, like when the 90s hit, we got much more black television. So it's by Family Matters.
Yeah. And it was a moment and it was nostalgic and nothing will ever take away from that. And he's going to be eating real good off that character for the rest of his life. So, kudos to him. Right. Kudos to him and get his book, support his book. Yeah. And I would love to know, what the listeners think. Like, did you watch Family Matters growing up? Am I wrong? Because it did come out on HBO Max to a lot of fanfare when it was released on streaming services. So am I wrong? Like, have you binged Family Matters? How was your rewatch? I want to know. I'm very curious.
I will admit, when I got HBO Max, it was on there. I watched it, but again, I think it was because of the nostalgia part, not because, this was so good. Kind of, man. You know what? We're gonna do a separate show on Black.
Because I was gonna ask you, because I was gonna ask you if you would want to possibly watch the highest rated Family Matters episode and the lowest rated Family Matters episode.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And we can talk about because then you would have read the book. I finished the book. We've watched a lot of Family Matters related content. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely want to do that. Also, you know what I want to do? And I want to challenge the audience. Bring your top 5 favorite shows from your childhood.
Ooh,
so
yes.
No matter what demographic you are, because that's going to be interesting as well, right?
Very much so.
Your top 5 favorite shows, whether you a millennial, whether you're a Gen Xer, a Gen
Z, I think, is the one after us.
Yeah, they're after us. Then the alphas.
Are you a millennial?
Yes, I'm a millennial. Wow.
Sometimes I make old jokes. Brian H. Waters is not that much older than me, but it's just funny to me.
Well, I used to work with some Gen Xers. So, and now it makes sense as a wrestling fan, reason why they were D-Generation X, because they in that age range. So, let's do that. Y'all drop your top 5 favorite TV shows.
Do it.
I want to see how many people have Family Matters.
Me too.
Yeah, I want to see how many people have Family Matters. But and speaking of TV shows, this man right here that I'm about to bring up, is he not one of the greatest entertainers? Top 3, top 5, the one and only Jamie Foxx.
Yes. Oh, now, what a talent.
You want to talk about a good TV show. The Jamie Foxx Show, appointment viewing television growing up.
Classic. Has aged beautifully.
Mm-hmm. What was that? Thursday nights, I believe. It was in the Thursday night swing.
Probably.
Yeah, that's But let's start with the bad first. He was recently involved in an altercation. There was an altercation. Somebody threw a drink at him. He's okay, which I think sucks. But we just finished watching his special, and I'm gonna tell you,
so good,
so good. Move you to tears. I feel like I went to church.
It did.
Like, you see the love that he has for his daughter. Can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
You know one term I hate?
What?
Girl dad.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad he didn't use that. I felt like it became a thing. I understand. You know me. I love Kobe Bryant. But when L. Duncan said, yeah, Kobe was the, girl dad, this and that, I felt like that's when all of a sudden it became cool to be a girl dad.
Yeah.
Like most people will be happy. Don't get me wrong. People be happy to be fathers of their daughters. But it's always something like when you see everybody jumping up and down. Like, oh, yeah, we have a boy. And I say it to say because I saw the love that he had for his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the one that came out there and performed with them.
Beautiful.
How I'm like, I really see how God used her to get Jamie back. He got his attention. And that's the one thing he was so vocal about. Just the things he had to do. But then he just made a joke. Like he said, he got to stay funny.
That was
stay
good.
alive. What was your biggest thing, or like when you think back to it? Because that's a rewatch, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Same. And it's like what you said, it made you feel every emotion. Because I love Jamie Foxx so much. Like you brought up the Jamie Foxx show. So I grew up watching Jamie Foxx and just loving him and appreciating his many, many, many talents. So when there was a scare last year about him, like I was terrified. I was genuinely terrified because like out of all the celebrity like that would have hit me really, really hard. My sister and I especially. So I just kept praying for him as well, like hoping that he would, get through it and all the ridiculous reports that he made jokes of. So to see him back on stage and really just showcase like what makes him one of the GOATs, like he made us laugh. We felt like like you said, we were in church. He sang, he performed with his family. He told us a story. He informed his fans of like what the fuck happened. Cause like I said before, there were so many wild reports out there. So he told us what happened. And even he got emotional a couple times, especially in the beginning, just appreciating and the level of gratitude that he felt being, on stage again. And he just really showed us that he could do it all. And that was one of my biggest takeaways is like, wow, like he really put on this show for us and made us feel every emotion to the point. And when it was ending, it was like, wait, that's it?
Yeah.
And if you don't, as an entertainer, if you don't leave your audience wanting more, then what are you doing? And that's exactly how that special made me feel towards the end. So I think my biggest takeaway was just him showing how fucking good Jamie Foxx is.
Yes. And I love how he was like so vocal about his spirituality and his faith. And you see like as somebody who used to work in medicine, I've seen what strokes do. You know what I mean? And for him to come out, he don't look like he had one. His voice still, and Jamie Foxx, one of the people, he will entertain you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ray is one of my favorite movies. Love that movie. You know what my first memory of Jamie Foxx is?
What?
Him playing Wanda on Living Color.
He showed tribute to her too.
Yeah. Like that as a child, that's like, because I remember Living Color coming on, like it would come on, like I feel like after Cosby or whatever. As you a child, you sitting in like in my parents' house, you see in like the kitchen. That's where we watched television. You know what I mean? That was our main place. And so my seat was always, the TV used to be on the refrigerator and my back was always towards this TV. So I would always like, be watching, eat and turn around. And it was like, we would watch Cosby Show, then like, or whatever, then Living Color come on. I would be entertained by it, but it was a little too old for me. Like, and my parents, all right, y'all can get ready to go to bed now. You know how you trying to stall a little bit. But I remember like Wanda being so iconic, between Wanda and Bozo, Homie the Clown, which I didn't realize was a play on Bozo the Clown. But, and I think my biggest thing with Jamie Foxx, just like I said, watching him being able to play his music, being able to sing, the imitation, spot on.
Oh, those had me cracking up. That was so funny. Yeah. He did Cat Williams. He did a good job too of incorporating Cat Williams because Cat Williams is so polarizing right now. and talked about Jamie Foxx and his stand-up special. So Jamie Foxx incorporating that was so like spot on because, that's the biggest thing in comedy right now. So why not bring it up? And also it's so funny.
Mm-hmm. We gotta get out of here. You want to let people know. So we're gonna have a few segments when we do this, right?
Yes.
And one of the things we're gonna do, and we don't have to really jump into the day, but we're gonna just let people know. We're gonna give y'all some social media tips and some, social media things that we work on, or marketing tips, and then refer you to go to some of those other pages and other, I should say pages. You know what I meant. Videos that we've done, and especially in the shorts. And then, we're also going to share with things that we're reading and different rabbit holes. If you want to, you can do that right now. I'm listening to the Jaleel White book. So, because to me, that's reading.
It is. Yeah, I just finished Jaleel White. I don't think, am I in a current rabbit hole right now? Besides Family Matters and 90s sitcoms? No. So that makes me more inclined to say that we should definitely do something on 90s Black TV in general, because it definitely, and Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club brings this up a lot because they brought up the Jaleel White interview is like, when did the shift happen between, because we went from in the 80s, Family Matters, predominantly white, predominantly Black cast, but white writers, white scenarios. And then there was like this renaissance for Black TV where Black creators were being trusted and being showrunners and developing these shows that we talk about all the time now, Martin and Living Single and Girlfriends and that, to then like this reality TV era where Black people's presence on TV is now, kind of more on the ridiculous side. And he always asked that question, like, when did that shift happen? And it's very interesting. So I would love to talk about that with you and get some of, the listeners and the viewers' opinions on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one thing we talked about in school, back in production school, the reason for like reality TV, because it was cheaper, and then you think about like with Fresh Prince, the difference in dynamic, right? How they had Black writers, and then they had people said, no, this character can't do that. There's checks and balance system that Family Matters didn't have. So yeah, we definitely gonna keep up this television conversation, and also binge watching conversation, especially as we finish different shows. Maybe we shouldn't tell people we at one that we're watching now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You want to tell them?
I'm so excited. No, let's wait. Greenleaf?
Greenleaf.
I'm watching it for the first time. Brian H. Waters is rewatching it for the first time. It is so good. It has taken over my life in the best way possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's let people know where they can find you, where they can find us, and we'll take them home.
Yeah, so you can find me at Queen3_PR on all social platforms. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you follow my women's wrestling podcast, Those Wrestling Girls, on all platforms as well. I cannot wait for the new year with that brand. Shout out to my co-host, Krista B. And if you want more marketing, career advice, and tips, please follow 6HM Productions on YouTube.
And shout out to my good sis, Krista B. You can find me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms, including Blue Sky. So make sure y'all check that out. I get a little, I try to be active on it. Yeah,
is that's what it's called, right?
That's what they say. They're skeeting. I don't know why they couldn't say skying or skiing, but they wanted to say skeeting. So yeah, make sure y'all check me out there. Threads, of course, Instagram, but also follow me at The Wrestling Realm. Shout out to my brothers Dwayne, Hugh, and Brandon, and then of course Ring of Wrestler, Shoes, Kaz, and then every Wednesday my bros Ben and Cal. So make sure y'all check that out, and then also ringer.com. I got an author page, so make sure y'all check that out. Time for top articles or top moments in sports, so mine will be coming up soon with that as well. But folks, make sure you follow us, 6HM Production, and make sure you check out all the videos here present. Until the next time, we out.
We out.